The first difference in the Ummah was between Sunnis and Shia is because there's a question about basically successorship. Who succeeds the messenger? Who becomes the Khalifa of the Rasulullah? Who becomes the political leader of the Ummah after the Prophet dies? This is where the crack has started. This is where the Sahaba differed in the fitna. Islam is a political philosophy. Christians and Jews and Muslims and Hindus and all types of people, even atheists, can live together in an Islamic model.
Did we lose our shared common vision in this first fitna? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to Rewired. I'm your host Abu Ibrahim. And last time with our guest Sheikh Usta, we were speaking big questions with regards to the rising and falling of nations. What is a shared common vision? And we spoke with respect to Islam and the Muslimin, especially as we see the grave situation of our Ummah today. So today we really want to go in detail about, now that we have understood, Sheikh, the importance of a shared common vision for a nation to progress, and seeing the lack of progress of the Muslimin when there used to be progress. Now, where did that progress go? Where did that shared common vision go? Right? At what point did we start to see the cracks in the unity of the Muslimin?
Yeah, well, again, it's not necessarily disunity. Don't forget, disunity could basically is maybe kind of the one of the later stages of disintegration, because the disintegration starts really in the minds and hearts of people by starting to not really agreeing on the shared common vision. Because from an Islamic perspective, as you said, the Islamic ideology is the one true ideology for the humankind. It meshes with the human nature. It fulfills all the human needs and desires in the proper, optimal way. And therefore, the only reason for our own demise would be us disagreeing on whether we want to live by it or not.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Well, now, when did that start happening? It started happening very early on. It started happening basically at the time which we call in our Islamic history the time of the Fitna. The fitna of Uthman, and the fitna afterwards, really, post the fitna of Uthman, the fitna between Ali ibn Abi Talib and Muawiya ibn Abi Sufyan. So that's really when things started at the time of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum.
So what's the reality of that? Like, did we lose our shared common vision in this first fitna?
Yes. I think we lost part of it, not the whole thing. Definitely not the whole thing. Definitely not at the time of the Sahaba or even after the time of the Sahaba. But Muslims need to understand, what is this shared common vision? We already said it's not the Islam as a faith. Islam as a faith, even from an Islamic perspective, is a choice. We don't need to agree to live by the Islamic faith. Christians and Jews and Hindus and all types of people are welcome to be part of the Islamic society, and they don't need to change their faith. That's not what Muslims want. Forget about what Muslims. That's not what Islam wants, and therefore that's not what Muslims want. Islam does not want. Islam would encourage people to basically have the Islamic faith, because it is the true faith. But from a socio-political perspective, from a social organization perspective, Islam says, فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Whoever freely wants to become a Muslim, that's their choice. And whoever freely wants to stay as a non-Muslim, that's their choice. So this is Islamic, from an Islamic faith perspective. Islam as a religion is a choice for the citizens of an Islamic society.
So if the faith is a choice, then where does the shared common vision come?
Oh, here's the thing, and this is what Muslims need to understand: this, that the faith part is a choice. We don't need to agree on it. Meaning Christians and Jews and Muslims and Hindus and all types of people, even atheists, can live together in an Islamic model society. And can form an Islamic nation that lives by this ideology that creates happiness, prosperity, and development and progress for this nation, right? Because that's the goal of everybody. The goal of everybody is to live happily, right?
Okay.
Like right now, you could be a liberal, but you're a homeless person under a bridge in Chicago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is this your ultimate? Are you happy being a liberal? If you're given a choice to live under an Islamic system, and pay way less taxes. Maybe as a homeless, you pay zero taxes. You get free healthcare. You get a free housing. You get free food.
Yeah.
Right.
So
For a homeless person, which ideology would they prefer? So the vast majority in a liberal society are way well off in an Islamic society. The vast majority, I'm saying the vast majority,
yeah.
like 60-70% are way well off. The others are also basically will be way well off from a different perspectives, but that's a different story for today.
So are you saying that like within independent of faith, within an Islamic society, different faith groups would all share a common vision about society? And then what is that common vision?
At least the majority of them, at the end of the day, majorities is what it takes to basically create a shared common vision.
Yeah.
Right? Not every single person. You need basically what's accepted overall.
Yeah.
Right, which is usually represented by a majority. Sometimes it's not even that, but let's say majority for now.
Yeah.
But society as a whole, what's accepted in society is a specific framework to live by. Okay, and that needs basically those in power and those who are not in power to agree, but at least especially those in power,
Okay.
because they will define how society runs.
So if it's not faith, then what is it?
It's La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah.
And that's not faith.
Well, it's faith and more, right? It's faith for the believers, right? But also Islam, as I said, Islam is a political philosophy. Okay. So when we believe in this political philosophy, because it is divinely revealed, definitely it's faith, and definitely that's part of our religion. But the religion aspect is only spiritual and personal.
Okay.
And the statement of Islam, I don't want to say statement of faith, the statement of belief in Islam is a political philosophy, is a political statement that speaks about two things. Number one, supremacy. Who has supreme powers within a nation? Number two, authority. Who has authority in a nation? And that's what a political philosophy is. A political philosophy is a set of ideas that defines supremacy, lawmaking in consequence, authority, the rights of citizens and electoral processes and a hierarchy of how to get to authority and rulership and governance and execution of law and how to execute law and the administrative, let's say, apparatus that will have all these processes live by. Right?
So supreme authority, so supreme power and authority, those two kind of sound the same. What's the difference?
Oh no, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Because supreme powers is the highest level of authority that sets the law. There's nothing that can, supremacy is the one that basically supremacy and sovereignty is a concept of who has the right to set the law and shape the nation's way of life.
Yeah.
Right? Authority is just executive. Authority is who's going to apply, who's going to safeguard, who's going to oversee, who's going to take the task. So in layman's word, supremacy is the one who sets the law. Authority is the one who executes the law and implements it.
And in Western societies, like who
Executive
gets what?
branch versus the legislative branch.
I see.
So the legislative branch is basically the one that makes the law. The judicial and the executive is the one that implements the law. Yeah.
I see. And in Islam, what does Islam have to say about those two branches?
Well, Islam defines all the relationship between such branches of government. So La ilaha illallah is one statement. Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in the second statement. The first one defines supremacy and sovereignty. La ilaha illallah, the word ilah does not mean God in English. Okay? Because God means deity, something that you revere, something that is metaphysical, something that's spiritual, something that you worship, right? But the word ilah means that highest supreme authority. So it has to do with obedience and submission. It's more political term than a religious term.
Is it both? The metaphysical, the spiritual, and the...
No. In the case of Islam, the divine is supernatural. See, the statement is political, but the entity that will be set as the supreme authority, the supreme power in supremacy and have sovereignty over the human nation is a divine being.
I see.
And that's why basically there is a spiritual aspect to the statement, without a doubt. but it's a political statement first and foremost. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
The role of ilah, what we set to be an ilah, this is a political question.
yes, exactly. Who is the ilah? Now that's when the supernatural comes into the game, the spiritual, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the unseen.
And
Allah, the creator.
What is the definition of ilah, just for clarity for the viewer?
Yeah, so the word ilah in Arabic means al-ma'bud. Al-ma'bud basically, al-ma'bud alladhi yu'bad, the one who basically gets given ibadah.
Yeah.
And now the magical word is
translating
ibadah.
Yeah.
Huh?
We're not translating it.
No, we're not gonna translate it wrongly.
Yeah.
The word ibadah means basically two things: al-khudu' at-tam ma'a at-ta'a al-mutlaqa. A full submission with absolute obedience.
I see.
And that's what I'm saying. It has to
And
do.
that's very clearly political.
It's definitely political. It's fully political. It's 100% political.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the laws that this divine supreme being sets due to his lawmaking highest and absolute authority is that also worship me. You see what I'm saying? So the issue is not about worship. The issue is about basically supremacy and submission, because they come together. Because you submit to the supreme, and the supreme has the right to be submitted to by the subservience, by the slaves of God,
I see.
by the human. So La ilaha illallah is a political statement, yeah? Fully political statement that speaks about the supremacy and the sovereignty of God, which is his right to set the law for the human, for all human civilizations, for the human species, really. So when you want to build a nation based upon La ilaha illallah, you're saying the lawmaking, the one who is supreme and the one who is sovereign within the nation is not men, it's not human beings. It is the creator of the human being, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the question of sovereignty and the question of supremacy, and they're synonymous in this context.
Yeah.
We're saying it is only and nobody but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of the universe.
Yeah. So going back to the first fitna, and going back to this understanding that the shared common vision is what enables a society's power and unity, what cracks could have appeared on this? We all
Zero.
know.
At that time, zero cracks on this. The cracks on this is now.
No.
After modernism invaded, the cultural modernism and liberalism invaded the Muslim world. But back at the time of the Sahaba, this one was super pristine. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ.
Yeah.
When Yusuf alayhi salam gave what people call today street da'wah, and he got two people from the streets of ancient Egypt who were imprisoned with him in the same cell, and he was alayhi salam, he was giving them da'wah. He explained La ilaha illallah in this four words, إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. That indeed sovereignty and lawmaking is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Nobody sets the law except the creator of man. The same entity that set the laws of physics and chemistry is the only one that must have, and we must believe that it is the only agency that should set the law of human societies.
All right. So the Sahaba, just to take you back to the first fitna, because you said if they're firm on this aspect of it, and you said there was something of the shared common vision that they lost. What was it?
Well, the second part. The second part is basically Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And we need to understand basically the messenger, when the messenger came, what message did he have? When we go back to the Quran, all the messengers of God, said basically really three words. Ittaqullaha wa ati'un. That's the message of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That's the message of Nuh, Isa, Musa, Hud, Salih, alayhim salam, Shu'aib, Lut, alayhim salam, right? So what does that mean? So when we take him as a messenger, we believe that when we take the Rasul as a messenger, what does that mean? That he's just basically passing a book and that's it. But that's not what he said. Like when you accept a messenger, you need to accept his message. What was his message? You know what I'm saying? His message that basically Allah is sovereign. We understood that very clearly right now, and that He is the messenger of God. What is the role of a messenger? What do we need? So we have to obey the messenger, for example. Allah, the three words that we just quoted says, Ittaqullah, fear Allah and obey me. So society, the nation has to obey the messenger. So he becomes in actual executive authority.
Okay.
So this is what we need to understand. That the second part is basically that Muhammad ﷺ is the messenger, and all the messengers were basically were in authority for the nation. If the messenger is alive, he is an authority, period. Nobody could be the leader of the ummah, the political leader of the ummah, except the messenger.
Okay.
But in Islam, as you know, we don't believe in immortal messengers. We believe that messengers and prophets are regular mortal men, right? And therefore they die. And we also in Islam believe, as part of the core Islamic tawheed, is that Muhammad ﷺ is the last of all prophets and messengers.
Yeah.
So after he dies, who becomes an authority? Islam defines it. So Islam says that the prophet, as long as he's living, he is in authority to execute the law of God. But after his death, this is where maybe the difference between Sunnis and Shia comes into the game. The reason, basically, the first difference in the Ummah was between Sunnis and Shia is because there's a question about basically successorship. Who succeeds the messenger? Who becomes the Khalifa of the Rasulullah? Who becomes the political leader of the Ummah after the Prophet dies?
Did the Prophet ﷺ not tell us?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. But you know, the Shia, they believe that God have, like He chose the prophets to be in authority, He chose those after the prophets to be in authority, and they're from Ahlul Bayt. And they differ based on the numbers. The most famous, or the majority Shia, are 12ers. So they believe that God have chosen 12 from Ali ibn Abi Talib and his lineage from Ahlul Bayt to be those in authority for the Ummah. Okay, and that is not the orthodox view in Islam. Okay. We as Muslims, we reject this view, not as heretical or anything. People believing that they don't become non-Muslims. It's just a wrong view. But the Sunnis believe, or at least the Orthodox Islam. I don't like to call it Sunni either, because this is what Islam is really. Yeah. Okay, what Islam really says is وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُم. The matter of their public affairs is an issue of consultation amongst the nation, amongst them, meaning the Muslimin, the believers.
I see.
Okay, how to conduct that that shura can be discussed maybe in different day and time, unless you want to discuss it today. But so this is where the Sahaba differed in the fitna. So after the death of Uthman radiallahu anhu, the Muslimin again through shura chose Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. What happened is that basically the Muslims differed at that time. So this is where the crack has started.
So after Uthman dies, the Muslims have a shura, but and then Ali is in power. But both Sunnis and Shia, they're both okay with that.
No, it's not about Shia. It's not between Shia and Sunnis. At that time there was no real Shiism then yet, right? So but I'm telling you, basically the crack within the Sahaba radiallahu anhu and the Ummah. When did it happen? The crack in our shared common vision. Okay? Our shared common vision. How to live together as a nation. That's what it is, right? Yeah. That's when the cracks happened. Because the Ummah believed that the Ummah, until you can say the last Ottoman Khalifa, which is Abdul Hamid II, real Khalifa, right? Yeah, not a puppet like afterwards. In 1909, they lived by the Shara of Allah. That Allah is the only supreme legislator for our nation, our human society is Allah.
The first half.
That never really have been touched until then. Since the Rasulullah established the state in Medina, what was renamed as Medina, which is Yathrib, right, which is the beginning of the Hijrah. So from 1 Hijri until 1909, which is, I forgot the exact Hijri date to that, the Ummah never had a problem with that issue. I mean, at the end, basically, you can say there's a little bit of like confusion.
Tanzimat.
Yes, exactly. You can say that. But at least in practice, basically, the government still, until Abdul Hamid rahimahullah, took that to the, that's Tawheed, really, at the end of the day. But we're speaking here basically at the time of the Sahaba, which is around close to 40 Hijri.
So what did they disagree about? What was the
disagreement is basically who will become the successor of the messenger. Who's going to be in authority? Is it an elected official or a person basically who comes through power to push himself upon the ummah? So Muawiya ibn Abi Sufyan, sadly, you can say challenged Ali ibn Abi Talib. Did not want to basically obey him as a leader, even though he was chosen by the ummah. And then when Ali was killed, the Ummah again did Shura, chose Al-Hasan ibn Ali, his son,
Yeah.
radiallahu anhuma. And again, Muawiyah challenged him until basically, Al-Hasan was forced really to step down. Otherwise, there would be bloodshed.
Yeah.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and raise him amongst the best of the best. Him and his brother are Sayyida Ahl al-Jannah. But again, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan now came with a minority in the Ummah,
Yeah.
forced himself against the majority to be in power.
So just so people understand, like, what was the pretext, or on what claim or what basis did he and his supporters?
No, look, there's many different reasons why. We're not saying, look, if the intention was not bad, then God might not punish Muawiyah.
Yeah.
Radiallahu anhu. So you just need to understand, we're not here speaking about sinfulness or not sinful. Put the sins away, because sins are based upon intention.
But I'm saying the basis for the disagreement. Like, what did people think Ali was not fit? What was their question?
So it's not like that. It's basically Muawiyah bin Yusuf, because the death of Uthman radiallahu anhu created a loss of polarization in the Ummah. Okay? And Muawiya bin Abi Sufyan, basically, his claim was that he wants the revenge for his cousin, because Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu and Muawiya were from the same tribe of Bani Umayyah. And Ali ibn Abi Talib wanted to just basically create peace and harmony first, and then maybe after when things settle, then he'll deal with the issue.
I see.
So Muawiyah didn't want that, and then he had full control of Bilad al-Sham, the Levant, which was, you can say, one of the most richest and strongest provinces in the Ummah. To be honest, it was the most, from a progress perspective and prosperity, it was maybe the most. So he had lots of power and influence. So at the end of the day, the people of Sham, the people with him, they agreed to support him against the chosen leader for the Ummah by Shura. So they went against the Shura.
I see.
So if we say basically that the two statements of faith, or the two halves of the statement of faith, is that Rasulullah is the messenger and he's the one who's in authority. And then at the time of his death, the Ummah uses Shura to elect people. That portion, Shura, to elect people. Again, it's not part of the kalima, but it's part of the shared common vision, because it defines how we're going to live together.
Yeah.
So, but the kalima starts speaking about basically those who's in authority. It's a messenger. And then outside the kalimat al-tawheed, there's rules that defines, how we're going to live together when the Prophet dies. So it's what I'm saying is it's part of the shared common vision, has the kalimat al-tawheed and a little bit more to define how we're going to live together as a nation.
The systems and the
Not
processes.
necessarily the details, but the overall.
Yeah.
Exactly. The
like
overall.
so that you and I living in a country,
We
an
agree how we're
Islamic
gonna
country, we agree on like who's in charge,
Exactly.
what's the law, these kinds of things.
Exactly.
Otherwise, we're going to clash.
But that's what a political philosophy is.
Yeah.
That's what a political system is. It defines these aspects, and this is what creates a shared common vision amongst a nation, and that's what creates the security and the stability, which leads to prosperity and so forth.
Really?
So the Ummah broke, between two parts now. There's a good majority that believes in the Shura, and there's a small, sizable minority that did not believe in the Shura, believed in, basically, you can say, might makes right. And sadly, that's why we had dynasties ruling over the Ummah during the Umayyads, the Abbasids, and the Ottomans. And that's where the problem lies. This is what created now basically friction and tension all along since that moment until we lost the Khilafah at the time of Abdul Hamid rahimahullah.
That's interesting, because like you can say the Shura kind of ended pretty quickly after the beginning of Islamic history.
Sadly.
Yeah.
It's a perfect Shura, yes.
But we did see that.
And the Rasul spoke about it in Hadith Hudayfa. Hadith Hudayfa ibn Yaman radiallahu anhu says, asked the Rasul, O Messenger of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought us this goodness, this khair, which is Islam. After we used to live in jahiliyyat and washar, like in time of ignorance, pre-Islamic times, which used to be times of evil. Is there an evil after that goodness? He says yes, referring to the fitna. He says, is there goodness? I'm just quickly picking what I need from the hadith, basically, but the hadith is all there. Is there any goodness after this evil? He says yes. Walakin, he says, but there's dakhan, there's a smoke in it. He says, what is the dakhan? Is that basically the leaders don't really match my sunnah, and they don't rule by the way I ruled. And this is what we understand the difference between the Khilafah al-Rashida. Khilafah al-Rashida is khair. It is where the Ummah basically fully agreed on the shared common vision, which is who's the legislators, Allah, and who's in authority, a person after the Rasul, it's either the messenger or after the messenger, a person that is the result of a shura, a fair and transparent shura within the Ummah. You see what I'm saying?
And despite the loss of this shura, we did see that, for more than 1,000 years after that, there was strength. There was something that maintained the semblance of a progressed civilization.
Yeah,
is that correct to say?
That's true. That's true. Well, but there was lots of ups and downs.
Yeah,
there are lots of basically friction and tension. What you've seen of the Islamic civilization is with the tension. Imagine basically we had full, agreement on the shared common vision. We would have been in the moon and created AI, 1,000 years ago. But sadly, basically, loss of tension, loss of rebelliousness due to the oppression of the dynastic styled leaderships, but this is what happens. What happens is basically people feel disenfranchised. The sons of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu and the Abbasiyin, the reason basically were rebelling against the Umayyads for almost like 100 years.
Yeah.
Until the Abbasiyin took over in 132 Hijri, which is, as you can see, like 90 years after Ali ibn Abi Talib died, or 92 years to be exact, or 93 years, is because they felt disenfranchised. Like, why is your son deserving to be our political leader? It's just he might be a loser. He might be a fool.
Yeah, no merit.
Yeah, so the Ummah had to go and basically gain its independence again from a political perspective.
So what this gets me interested in is this being like the first crack. Maybe next time we'll discuss what is it that really took us from progressed and maybe finished off the Islamic civilization. What were the other causes? What were the other diagnoses that took us from the strength of the Umayyads and the Abbasids and the Uthmanis to what we have today?
God bless you.
Barakallah feek, Shaykh. It was a great discussion.
You too.
And I hope people come tune into the next episode where we discuss more about these big questions of progress, of politics, how Islam is viewed as a system, and where that manifested in our history or lack thereof. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.